Hello? What are you? Oh, I'm just your friendly neighborhood cosmic entity. Why do you look like me? Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I show up in my real form and you freak out, rip out your own eyes, etc. That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it, for both of us?
Wow, look, it's a theory video that doesn't involve me picking at scraps for which character I think is gonna come back from the dead. How surprising, right? Anyway, if you don't know me, my name is Jade. I do make a lot of supernatural videos, a little bit too obsessive over the show. Yeah. So, to start off, here's your spoiler warning. I have spoilers all the way up to season 13 because I spill a lot when I ramble. I do have a script, but I tend to go away from the script sometimes. So yeah, just spoiler warning. If you're not caught up to the show up to season 13, I suggest not watching this if you do not want spoilers. So as you can see, this video is going to be about the Empty, and because we don't really get to see much of the Empty, I think it's good to build upon it and think about it, because I think it's going to be a very big role in the show eventually. To start, the Empty is a very light topic that's mentioned in Supernatural. We only get a few glimpses of it in season 13 and only 1 or 2 mentions of it before that in the show's history. So far, they've covered every afterlife you can think of, heaven, hell, and purgatory, which are all things that they have covered in pretty good detail. We know a good amount about all of these 3 places. Heaven is a place where you go if you're an alright person, and you go there, You don't have to suck Jesus' dick if you want to go to heaven, you just kind of have to not be a douchebag. Hell is for the assholes who kill people, or people who sell their souls to cross-road demons, and purgatory is a place where monsters go, and to what I believe, they get purified there. There's a lot of proof that I actually saw. It was a really good theory video by another YouTuber on here explaining why purgatory is a place for the purification of monsters, and it's pretty canon with the show. I'll leave a link in the description or the pinned comment if you guys want to see it. But it's a very good video. But to sum it up, we know a lot about these 3 places, but the one afterlife we don't know much about is the Empty. Here's what we do know. The Empty is a place where angels and demons' souls go when they die. Similar to when a human soul goes to heaven, the Empty consists of a cosmic entity that, again, we don't know much about, but we do know that he, she, they, I'm just gonna say he because the last time we saw him was in the form of Castiel, but I'm pretty sure the cosmic entity doesn't give a flying fuck about gender. But like I said, we do know that he has complete control over the realm that is the Empty, and he has a few notable powers considering that he bought Castiel back and he was seen to be in fucking tip-top fucking condition. Another thing to mention would be that in season 11, Billy does threaten to send Sam and Dean into the Empty when they die, so they can never be resurrected again.
So the next time you or your brother bite it, well, you're not going to heaven. Or hell. One of us. And Lord, I hope it's me. We're gonna make a mistake and toss you out into the Empty. And nothing comes back from that. It's time. The Empty. It's waiting.
From this, I think it's okay to assume that Reapers have access to the Empty, which raises the question, can human souls inhabit the Empty? I think probably, but they aren't really necessarily supposed to be there, kind of like how Dean wasn't meant to be in Purgatory, because Purgatory is for monsters. The Empty is a place of nothingness, similar to Sheol in the Hebrew Bible, which I think is where the writers for Supernatural got the concept of the empty from. I apologize if I'm not saying this right, but Sheol is a place of darkness which all the dead go to, both righteous and unrighteous, regardless of the moral choices they have made in their life. A place of stillness and darkness cut off from life and from God. The Empty even says that God, Chuck, has no control in the Empty, but that also raises the question of how did God resurrect Castiel if he couldn't get to it? This would also explain why angels and demons are sent there, considering they don't really have a place to go after they die. My theory is that the Empty isn't necessarily a place, but rather a being that has its own little sandbox, and of course that place is where the angels and demons go when they meet their demise. This would explain the entity that talks to Castiel literally morphing himself from the ground up. See, the Empty existed before God and Amara even existed, and again, it's basically a place of nothingness where angels and demons sleep forever, and I can actually assume that Death, the one we saw before Billy became Death, is living or being or existing there right now. So maybe this being that controls the empty, the thing that we see morph into Castiel, is technically the empty. He is what the universe is without light and dark. Chuck and Amara, he is nothingness but also everything at the same time. He's the all-being creature. Obviously, Chuck is a very strong character. God is a very strong character, and we all see that. But the empty seems to have more power than God does himself, because he put Castiel back on Earth with zero time, basically. He just snapped his fucking fingers and there's Castiel. There goes away all my pain and suffering from the season 12 finale. God has said multiple times that it takes time to rebuild what he has made, because he created the world, or at least Earth, from what we know. Maybe he didn't necessarily build everything, but he is existing. It's very hard to track back before God, because most people think, oh, God is the number one being. Then what came before God? Was it just nothingness? And that nothingness is the empty. So that leads me to my conclusion. I think that this cosmic entity being thing that we saw is the creator of God and Amara, and is basically the fucking ruler of the entire universe. I know that sounds really fucking stupid. It kind of makes sense, because everyone's always like, oh yeah, what came before God? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of dwelling more into deeper than that, and if Sam and Dean know about this fucking entity that can fucking do anything it wants to, then maybe that's where Supernatural ends. But that is another theory for another time, in which I conclude this video, because I have basically stated all I can about the empty. I'm kind of picking at scraps, I know, but it does seem pretty plausible that the empty is just the being that fucking created God and Amara. Whether it did it by itself or whether it just kind of happened, I don't know. Maybe it needed something to balance out the whole nothingness of the world. I have no fucking clue. I think the empty is something that we all really gotta think about, because I do see this becoming something very big in Supernatural, considering they've mentioned it a few times. I don't want them to just shut out the idea of the empty or the concept of the empty, just because it's like, it sounds really fucking cool. It seems really fucking cool. I really do want to see this develop more. So if you have any theories about the empty, I'm willing to read them. I really actually do want to read them, because mine isn't necessarily the best theory, but it's what I could think of and what I like to kind of think of in my head. Just like, you may not think a theory is right, but you know what, before it's actually confirmed, you can always just assume to yourself, to each his own. Yeah, I do want to hear your guys' theories about this. I'm very, very, very interested in hearing about it. So if you enjoyed this video or any other of my videos, then feel free to subscribe or like this video if you really want to. I don't really care. You have free will. You do what you want to, boo. So yeah, this is my end of the video. I'm very bad at making outros, so if you want a video, if you have a suggestion for what video I should make next, leave it down below in the comments. I have made a lot of theory videos, a lot of edits, actually, more edits than that. So if you have like a song edit, or like if you have like an idea for a song that I should use for an edit or something like that, or if you just have a theory that you want me to build upon, I actually have a video coming out about the cult soon, because someone had asked for it, so stay tuned. And I also have a video about how Supernatural will end, so this kind of leads me to that, I guess, because I do have a theory about the empty and what it leads to. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.